Harper contains foul language and adult material. If you are easily offended and thin-skinned, you should hit the stop button now. And if you are not a complete idiot, let's get this party started.
What?
Let's get down to brass tacks, gentlemen. If I was informed correctly, the clock is ticking. Is that right, Jimmy?
But good luck arguing that in court. Let me get down to brass tacks.
Listen, let's get down to brass tacks here. How much for the ape?
Jack, let's just cut the crap and get down to brass tacks here.
Okay!
Hike up your motherfucking panties.
And pull them to the side.
This is the Harper.
Fuck you! No bullshit.
Yeah, welcome to the Harper, ladies and gentlemen. This is Jake, as with me, always my sidekick, Adam.
That's right, Tom!
Here we go. 2 weeks seems like a long time this week, man.
I almost forgot that we were podcasters.
There's been a lot of things that have happened over the last couple weeks.
You know what? As you say that, I can't think of one.
But that's what I'm saying. Life's going 1,000 miles an hour.
A blur.
It is. Days run into weeks, weeks run into days.
Dazed and confused.
We always got the Harper to bring us back, though.
Thank God.
Yeah. So, public service announcement, you guys know. Come find us. TheHarperGuys.com. Follow,
I've got
subscribe,
one this time.
comment. Oh, we got a real shout out.
Yeah, a real one. So check out our videos on YouTube. I'm looking right at you. When you go to YouTube, I you know what? I'm gonna plead and beg and borrow right now. Subscribe, comment. We need this feedback. If you guys want us to continue to keep doing this, it's kind of shit we need. We need you to subscribe, comment, let us know what's going on. Let us know what we can improve, what you hate, what you like, whatever.
Yeah.
Also, please visit theharperguys.com. Follow and subscribe there. Nobody's doing it. Come on, we need some help here. All 5 of you, whoever you are, we need some help. Also, visit us at iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, Radio Public, TuneIn, and iHeartRadio. Please, if nothing else, go to iTunes and give us a review. That right there will help us in many ways, because the more reviews you get on iTunes, the more of a broadcast you'll get. And the bigger broadcast we get, the more listeners we'll get. So once again, help me help you.
Yeah, takes a village, trying to build a little bit of a community here to the, we're going to call you the Hateful Eight. We got the eight that we got subscribing every week and listening.
I like that.
And honestly, it's the best policy. I mean, that's why we got to know bullshit as part of what we do down here. It really is part of it. So that's why I don't have a problem saying we have 8 consistent subscribers, all kinds of listeners that have been on for a bunch of episodes, and then they'll miss some episodes, people that get on to the live shows but haven't really got into much of the other stuff, Fucking throw it out there. I mean, it might not change the way that we feel about things. It might not change our opinion on anything, but it's going to give us something to throw some feedback at you and to open up some conversations a little bit more. I mean, we're here to entertain you, to have a good time, something to pass your time while you're driving, sitting out chilling at the house, but if we can take your opinion into account, maybe get your words out there a little bit, maybe what you see, even if we think you're full of shit. We can at least put it out there.
The other thing is, the more you give and take from us, the more other people will want to chime in, because nothing draws a crowd like a crowd.
That's right.
So bring it. We want it. We're asking. Well, actually, we're demanding. Get involved with the show. You'll be part of the show because we'll talk about you, for one. Another thing, I see a lot of other podcasts boasting and posting, listens and downloads. Jake and I kind of care, but not really. We do care that you're downloading because that means you're listening. We're at about 1,100 plus. For 2 white guys from Ohio in a basement, I think we're doing pretty good.
I mean, it's not bad. I mean, the podcasts that have multiple chicks on their podcasts, and are exclusively about crime. If you've got 2 women and crime as your topic, you're homering it every time.
We're never going to be able to compete with the ladies just because of the clickbait or whatever you want to call it.
Sure.
But you know what? We hope that you find, our topics and our discussions interesting. I know the Hateful Eight do.
Yeah. I mean, they really do. But at the same time, I would also encourage you to go listen to another couple podcasts. If you think that our sound quality sucks, tell us. We don't think it does. I think if you compare us to some of the top podcasts out there, we compare very favorably. And there's a lot of podcasts that have a shitload of traffic on it, that their content fucking blows, and their fucking quality is dog shit.
And another thing is, I don't know if you can tell by now, but the Harper, we are not afraid to tackle any subject.
No.
Bring it the fuck on.
Right. I mean, we know that we kind of joked around. A lot of you guys have seen the meme of Homer Simpson like fading back into the bushes.
Right.
We get that. We've had a couple topics on here where people were like, well, I'm not going to comment or say anything on the record. I'll slide you a little note on the side, which don't get me wrong. When you can easily be persecuted publicly for your beliefs, I don't completely hate or not understand that, but that's not what we're here for.
Especially on social media. I get that.
Sure. But
we're not afraid of that.
No.
Jake and I mean, we obviously come up with our own topics, but if there's something that you want us to talk about, fire it off.
Right.
TheHarperGuys@gmail.com
Right.
all day long.
Right. We ain't perfect, but sometimes our ideas are pretty well fucking founded. And if they're not, tell us. So
Exactly.
we're done harping about that now. And now it's on to topic one for the night. Something that we all deal with is the good and the bad that come with dealing with large companies
Giant fuckers.
versus mom and pop shops.
Yeah.
So, I mean, clearly one of the big things that you find is to go all the way with it. The Walmarts, the Sam's Clubs, Costco's, BJ's of the world, you know, the big companies that you deal with for your Amazon, for your wholesale goods, it makes sense on price, right? Because you're getting a great deal on what you get price-wise from them.
Some things, most things. Bulk, for sure.
Bulk. To where if you would buy the same thing from the mom and pop grocery store that is barely existing today, you're going to pay a hell of a lot more for it.
Sure.
We're not hating that idea. That completely makes sense. But we want to just discuss, man, try to talk too fast.
Unique New York.
Right? Some of the good and some of the bad that go with it when it comes to big companies.
One of the things you wrote down here is, do you feel like you are helpless and that they don't care about you at the end of the day? And some of that, you do feel that way.
I do. I think like a lot of people, I've considered cutting the cord. I know that you've done it. One of the things that is so incredibly frustrating is, and this is not slanderous, libelous, any of this. I've done my research. Everything that I'm about to say is true. Any company that I say it about is true. So there's no way that they can come back on me. If they want to try to fight me with litigation, they can. I'm just throwing it out there to start with. You can check all of your laws. Everything that I say is 1,000% true on this show. My cable provider is Spectrum. I recently had to go back down to the Spectrum store and get a new router because their router that I've had for 6 years simply would shut off 6 times a day, didn't work for shit. So I go down there, they get me a new router. Oh, it's got 5G on it, you know, I'm paying for the good internet. It's still every couple days, the internet will just stop fucking working for no reason, to where I'll unplug it, leave it sit for 2 minutes, plug it back in, and then the Wi-Fi is ass-kicking the rest of the night. The next day, we might hit a moment or two that's spotty. By the second or third day, it's back to the same shit again. I have complained about this ad nauseum. I've talked to people on the phone, which we'll get into that here in a minute. I've talked to people in person, and all they can ever tell me, well, take your router back and get another router then. That's why I took the router back in the first place, and you gave me one that was wrapped in cellophane. Like, could you please just step up your fucking game? If your broadband isn't fucking good enough, improve your shit. And if it's your equipment that's fucking shitty, then get it fucking fixed. Sorry to be dropping a bunch of F-bombs in succession right there.
Fuck it!
But they need to happen. It's ridiculous. And I feel like there's a lot of people like you, like me. We work a fucking 9-to-5 job. We put up with all the crap that goes with that. We come home. We have a normal life that we have to live, which is full of responsibility here. The last thing we want to do is waste a half hour of our evening on the phone trying to talk to somebody to say, hey, can you please fix my shit?
Well, and this is the thing. I totally get it, by the way. I hate that. And I have a quick little story about that. But before that, internet is kind of the funny thing. We just expect it to fucking work and work all the fucking time. And it's not really all that difficult. I've had a number of different providers, and sometimes it just does work all the fucking time, like it should. I have had Spectrum, which it sounds like you don't Spectrum anymore, but that's a stretch.
That's good.
But before they were Spectrum in our neighborhood in neck of the woods, they were Time Warner. Had them forever at my residence. Just like Jake, though, they had these spotty fucking modems. I know yours is the router, but at the time there was these modems. Okay, so what it would be is cable network, cable wire, your coax comes in, hooks into this modem, network cable into your computer so you get the internet. This is like the tower, no laptop.
Sure.
Before the big Wi-Fi craze of now and many years ago. But they would kept replacing these modems. And then at one point, it went from every year to I was calling them every couple months. Yeah, we'll just come out and bring you a new modem. I'm like, God, I hope I get a good one this time. This is just ridiculous. And then all of a sudden, it just came to a head, and I was on the phone all night long, and this guy I talked to actually told me, because it was we went up, there was tier 1, then they moved up as a tier 2, then there was tier 3, and this tier 3 guy said, "Sir, you do realize there's other internet providers out there?" And I was like, "What?"
Really?
I'm like, you obviously have no idea. I was the only guy on my street. Actually, I take that back. The whole street was having issues, but I was probably the only guy that was this frustrated and calling about it. And he told me, and I said, "You know what? I'm going to jot your." Which I asked him for his name, yada yada. Any more information I could get. I did switch. My wife called back the next day and said, "Hey, by the way, Jonathan here told us to move on."
Oh, yeah.
And we really want to thank him for letting us or giving us that great idea, because your service is horrible.
So dealing with this large company, did you make the right move?
Absolutely.
So are you happy with your current
Yes.
internet carrier? And
Well-
who is it?
Okay, so everything comes full circle at sometimes.
All right.
So I went off and went to AT&T, and this was I'm going to say 6 years ago, and it was DSL. I never messed with DSL. We'd still had our home phone line.
I am the short bus version of literate when it
I'm going
comes
to
to
tell
technology.
you. I was
so-
about to explain
okay.
it. So DSL primarily at the time ran through your phone line, like your home phone line.
Okay.
Which we didn't have a home phone at the time, but we had the lines.
Yeah, the cable line.
No. This is your home phone. It's a little tiny,
Oh yeah, the little jack.
the little jack thing. And so the guy came out, hooked it up real quick. I'm going to tell you what. I think I had it for 5 years, never touched once. I'm going to say it worked for 4 years straight. And it wasn't the fastest, but it was fucking on it all the time. I never had to go exchange routers. And the only reason we went back to Spectrum, well, Time Warner actually changed a little bit. They converged with Comcast, maybe? I don't even know. But
Did you say Time Warner?
Time Warner and somebody else made Spectrum.
I don't know.
But anyways, so Spectrum was offering this redonkulous speed for a pretty decent price. So we went and tried it, and I'm going to be honest, we rarely have any issues.
With your Spectrum.
Right. Currently. But now I will tell you this. I went out, and I don't get a router from them anymore.
See, that's what I was going to ask you.
I went out and spent the one-time fee of like $120 and bought the Big Boss router.
So you got yourself the Mac Daddy instead of using their shit.
So it still comes to that modem, which I have hidden in the basement.
Yeah.
And then I run that up to the router, which is in my living room.
Yeah.
And then, so modem converts it to internet to the router, broadcasts it, and it's beautiful. Now, very rarely, I'm going to say like once in every year, we'll just say once every year, my daughter will call me, "Dad, the router's not working." I'd say, "Go unplug it." Literally, it's an unplug and plug it back in, power off, power on.
Yeah.
Like at work.
Yeah.
And
So maybe let me get this cleared up then for some of the other listeners that might be in the same boat I'm in right now. I have one box, and it sits behind my television. There is a cable coming out of my floor that screws into it,
that's the coax.
and that's all I have.
Right.
So is that a modem or a router?
It's both. You have
So I have the dual package.
so
in one.
it's the modem part is what's converting the cable or your Time Warner or your Spectrum television into the internet, because I'm sure it carries both. I'm not really sure how that all separates and divides.
Okay.
But then instead of like me having the old modem with the wire going to the router,
Yeah.
you just have it all in one.
Okay. Well, I wish that somebody would have explained that to me, through all the times talking on the phone, as far as like, is there anything else I can do? I've asked this question multiple times.
Like, can I ask you a question? Do they
Yeah.
charge you like a fee for this? Is it $5 a month? Is it free?
It's like $10 a month to rent it, but like if you jack it up, you have to pay for it. But
Okay.
mine literally, I've held on to mine to the point where like I go down there and they're like, yeah, we don't even disperse this one anymore. Here's a brand new rider.
Right, but you're still paying monthly fee. That was another thing I didn't want to do.
Yeah.
Call me cheap or whatever, but I figured after 10 months I had this, or a year, I have my $120 thing paid off, right?
Sure.
So, I mean, you go to your friendly big store, we're talking about giant company, Walmart, and pick up the Netgear router, which I like the Netgear, so I'm going to boast that.
I just figure at some point, like you can only fucking furbish so many of these and send them back out into the world with plastic on them and make them look like they're brand new again. Like at some point, it's going to start costing them real fucking customers if they don't step their shit up, or at least explain to their customers what the option is. I mean, what's that $10 a month for them? The $10 a month ain't shit when you look at what my fucking cable bill is. So
That $10 a month times 10 million.
right, but if you lose 10% of what your market is because of this, it would make more sense to at least either offer better shit or explain it to the people like, hey,
Right on.
this is what we have. This is what it will do. If you don't like this, here's another way you can go about it. Hook it into our shit, and your shit will work just fine.
Well, and I'm sure the conversation probably was had with you, and they probably said, do you want to buy your own router, or do you want us to just supply one? You're probably like, fuck no, just supply it.
Well, right, and I'm the cynical fuck that thinks that everybody runs like Apple, to where it's like, oh, here's your new router. It kicks ass for a month, and then like, well, we got some other people with some new routers, so it's time to slow your shit down a little bit, to make sure that they get their speed so that they're happy for a while.
Well, that's the thing with Spectrum. I don't know. Time Warner used to say, or not say, but it was known that you shared the bandwidth, which meant the speed of your internet with your neighbors.
I mean, which I believe that.
And it probably hasn't changed.
Yeah.
So when the whole neighborhood's firing off at all cylinders, yeah, you probably will see some speeds.
Probably. And the evenings, obviously, is when it gets the worst.
Right.
Everybody's home and shit.
Is that when you notice it's the worst?
Yeah, but like especially like one thing I've learned to do now, before I go to bed, I turn the cable box off before I go to bed, because obviously we have a smart TV, so it runs through it. So I turn the cable box off so it's not taking any of the Wi-Fi, to where it seems like there's more and things run a little bit better when you go upstairs and go to bed and you're not quite ready to go to bed and you're still playing on your phone instead of shit just fucking buffering for forever.
Buffering.
Yeah.
You remember when that was a thing?
It's still a thing, man.
You're getting buffering?
Dude, legit. Like there's
You're not getting buffering off this 5G. Oh, do you want to harp about that a little bit? That it's not really 5G?
Oh yeah, it's 5G compatible unless you pay for it.
But the first lady told you got it.
You're right, to where I had to call back and get it fucking sorted.
That's another thing with big companies. Obviously, they don't do any training either. They're fucking salesmen / customer service person didn't even know that.
Yeah. Okay, so that's going to bring me to the next topic. Let's just jump into the customer service of big companies, and I think that they need to start paying attention, because we've all been dealing with this long enough. In some ways, we've accepted it, and I think it's time to stop. So there's a whole lineage of things when it comes to the customer service. Problem number one is, as soon as you call in, what do you get every fucking time you call a big company?
Oh my god.
The automated fucking voice system.
That is the number one. We recently at our company went to an automated. I'm like, I can't believe you guys are doing this. For years, we were the mob and pop style, greet you at the front door.
Yep.
And we went away from it. And I'm like, this is everybody does it, but you should not. Don't do it.
Agreed. It fucking drives you crazy. To where it's like, it takes the personal part of it away, because it's the same thing every time. We've identified your phone number. Please enter the last 4 digits of the primary account holder's social security number. And it's like,
Well, what about the
at
ones
what point
where
in time can I just fucking program this? I mean, I can at least program my phone on an app to where it will remember my name and my password and the settings that I put on it. Why the fuck can I at least do this through your system?
I don't make a whole lot of calls to these companies anymore, because most of my shit's running pretty good right now.
Yeah.
But there was a time where I would have to actually get a notepad out and I'd be like, okay, it said push 1, push 0. I'd be writing down what I'm pushing, so that way when I call back next time, I'd be like,
Yeah.
boop, boop, boop. I mean, wouldn't even listen.
Yeah.
I'm just pushing the numbers that I know will get me where I want to go.
Isn't that ridiculous that you've got that memorized?
It's fucked up that some of those places will get you in such a maze of buttons, and all you want to do is talk to a fucking human.
Right. And then when you finally fucking get to one, though, what happens? You have to go all the way back through your information again. Who do I have the pleasure of speaking with this evening? I already told your computer system that. That's why I finally got to you after 20 minutes.
Doesn't that
And
piss you off?
Yes, it drives me fucking crazy. I just want to be like, oh, I just made all that up. It wasn't really who I am. Like, what the fuck are you even asking me this for? I just
Do
gave
you ever try to
every bit of this.
Have you ever tried to be the sneaky fucker and be like, "Oh yeah, I want new service," just so that you get to talk to somebody?
No, I haven't.
Have you? Oh, I do that all the time. I'm
I
like,
won't do it.
Okay, so if
because I feel like they get mad at you and they're going to throw you down a fucking black hole.
Listen, if you want, listen, this is a note to self. If you're going to disconnect service with somebody, don't say you're going to they'll put you on an hour fucking wait call. You want new service. Boom, right now. Well, we recognize this. Are you adding this? I want to add HBO, everything. Yes, I do. And then when they finally get you, you're like, listen, I want to disconnect. Like, oh, well, let me transfer you over. You're like, thank you. And I don't care if I'm on that transfer for 5 minutes. It still saved me some fucking time.
You think?
Absolutely.
All right.
It's all about getting to the real person.
Yeah. Now, there are a few things I do like about large companies. Besides price, I feel like most of the time it's easier to return things. Like most mom and pop shops that you go to, you can't really return shit. Like, I just feel like most of the stuff is kind of a one-off. If you go to Walmart, you buy something and it's fucked, you can usually take it back. You know what I mean? Best Buy, any of this shit. You know what I mean? It's not that hard to send stuff back. I mean, even one of the great things, I don't think we know if we've talked about it on the show, but PayPal and eBay actually can protect you. I bought an item online a couple years ago for $500, and they sent me back a tracking number and everything, and then it said it was delivered. We ended up finding that the tracking number went to another address in town, and it was a completely different item to where it was all fictitious shit, and they covered every single bit of it. You know?
I hear you.
Feeling the tribe hat right now, are you?
Oh, I forgot to put it on.
Oh man, but that's one of the things that I do like about the larger companies. I mean, there's not, besides price and sometimes the ease of returning things if you need to, like even if you go to if you go to Kohl's, you know, even if you don't have your receipt, there's a UPC on the tag. A lot of times, as long as you have that, they can pull up exactly what that item is, when it was sold, what you used to pay for it, and they can still return your shit to you.
Right on.
So, to me, that's one of the things. When it comes to food, I definitely prefer mom and pop. I feel like it's always going to be better that way. When it comes to the food that you get, just the one-offs, you know, and maybe it's because we get tired of chain food. You know what I mean? When you go to a new town and you have 75, 80% are all the same place, it's the 20% that you find that are new that kind of make it, to me, a little bit better. You know, I mean, don't get me wrong. You can go into a greasy spoon and come out feeling like hell. I mean, it's known to happen from time to time.
Get those Burbank varieties.
Right. You do pay higher costs sometimes at mom and pop shops. I am not always against
Not
that.
for food, though.
I don't know, man. If you go to like a small grocery store, like sometimes like a box of cereal or a box of crackers, like simple things like that, you will pay
Okay, no, I'm
more
talking
money
about.
for.
I don't mean groceries. I mean like dining. If you go to a greasy spoon, you're gonna pay a shit ton less.
Oh, I agree. You don't have the same corporate advertising
Overhead
and all that shit.
crap.
That's true. But
You know.
I don't know. I like the food aspect of it just because we always try to find things that are unique. The higher cost of goods that you get from mom and pop, I don't necessarily love. One of the things I do like, though, is that you know who you're dealing with.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't take long to figure out exactly who it is, like when it comes to dealing with your car. You can take it to Pennzoil, you know, or 5-minute oil change or whatever it's called now, you know, and you can pay $60 to get it changed, or you can make an appointment with a guy downtown. I know you change your own oil, but most of America doesn't these days.
I didn't for a long while.
But if you go, I have found that if you go to a local guy, you get it a lot cheaper. You actually know who's dealing with your car. If there's any other issues with it, it'll be like, hey, man, I changed your oil, and those back pads aren't looking real great, just so you know.
Yeah.
Like, I just feel like it's a better relationship, you know, overall, to where...
You know why I stopped going to get my oil change?
Why is that?
Because I can remember seeing at the place I used to go to where I've shown you.
Yeah.
I used to go there for my oil change all the time.
Yeah.
And it was like, I remember seeing it was like, they had the numbers. You could just put them up on the wall, like the nails.
Yeah.
And it would say like $17.95, and I'm like, I'm fucking under $20.
Right.
And then, you know, then I remember the day when it went to like $19.95.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's still under $20.
Right.
And then before you know it, it's at $26, $27. I'm like, I probably can do this cheaper myself now.
For the lowest crap oil they have, too.
Right.
And then it's for 4 quarts, so anything that takes more than that, they charge you by the quart.
Yes.
So if you use any oil that's not the lowest class oil, like that's what I say. That's one that I really have a hard time with. I feel like when it comes to getting work done on your car, always better to get to know somebody that's local.
For sure.
And continue to deal with them. especially if they treat you right. Because those are the guys that are honestly the ones that be like, look, man, we've been working together for years. I'm going out of town this weekend. Is there any way you can squeeze me in on a Friday? Those are the guys that usually end up doing it instead of it being like, well, sorry, we're full. It's never going to happen.
Right.
So,
Well, plus there's that you're a quality customer.
Yeah.
I'm going to help you out.
exactly.
Right. No, I agree. Getting back to the part where you said they don't care about you, I like when I think about large corporations and large companies like Lowe's, for instance.
Yeah.
I really like Lowe's, but for whatever reason, I always think about them first. Maybe it's because of geography and they're a little closer to me than Home Depot is.
Sure.
But oh my God, 10% of the time, they have what I want. The other 90, I'm driving over to Lowe's or over to Home Depot, saying to myself, "Why did I waste fucking 15, 20, half an hour?"
Really?
Over there? Yeah, I'm not kidding you.
You have better luck at Home Depot than you do at Lowe's.
Almost 90% of the time.
Do you ask the professionals? Because I feel like I'm not going to hate on either company. I feel like I've gotten good service at both companies. I feel like Lowe's, and like you said, possibly because of proximity, they are a little bit closer to me as well, to where I go there probably a little more often. But I feel like if I have a problem and I explain it, especially if I take stuff in, most of the time they're able to help me out. And that's one thing I really appreciate about them. I remember the old small hardware shop days, to where those were good times. I remember going down to the hardware shop as a kid with my dad. I mean, there was a little tiny hardware shop that had been there for 70 years in the town I grew up in. But I also remember things being broke and my dad going in there and the guy being like, yeah, I don't have it on hand. I'll have to put an order in for it. I might be able to have it here by next week. So something just broke for a fucking week, to where now that very rarely happens on something that's a common piece.
I guess what I'm talking about more is like, hey, I try to be this upfront customer where
Yeah.
I'm going to look online to make sure they have it.
Right.
And when I get there, it's not in stock.
Yeah.
But online said it was.
Oh, that does piss you off.
So I have not. So I've had that problem a lot with Lowe's. And I swear to God, I'm never going back. But then I always end up back over there checking it out.
Yeah.
But Home Depot, I've had a lot more success. They are very similar stores.
Sure.
You're pretty much going to find the same thing. I have found a few things like light bulbs and things like fluorescent bulbs.
Yeah.
They don't carry the same.
Yeah.
But most of the time, you will find similar items.
I agree with that. One last thing to touch on the restaurants when we were talking about service. And I know we've talked about service at restaurants a million times, but even if we've talked about this before, I want to make sure I make this one point. If anybody works or has any influence at a major fast food restaurant chain, and I'm talking anything like Applebee's and up, where you actually are going to go in, sit down, they come, they take your drink order. If you're on the ball and you have an appetizer that you want to put in,
Right.
you put it in then. Every fucking time, as soon as they bring your drinks back, they want to take your dinner order.
I hate that.
Drives me nuts, to where we tell them almost every single time, look, we're going to go ahead, finish our appetizer, then we'll go ahead and order our food. Because you want to actually enjoy the dining experience, don't treat me like cattle. Absolutely drives me crazy. So that's my last little part of that.
Got it.
So anything else, good or bad, about the large companies you got?
No, I'm good.
Okay, well, I'm going to go into my heart for the evening then.
Okay.
And again, same disclaimer I had earlier. Libelous, defamation of character, anything like that you can say. You can fact check all of this. I have everything recorded and documented. Levin Furniture can eat a giant bag of dicks. And
Why is that, Jake?
I don't know that I can ever do any further business with them. I feel like a lot of us that have grown up, over the last 20 years, you don't start with brand new furniture. I didn't. I started off with used furniture or furniture in a box that I had to put together. You can still get some decent furniture in a box. I just got a couple rocking chairs that came in boxes I put together. But you have this, I feel like it's a purchasing experience the first time that you go to a real furniture store and you're going to buy furniture.
Right.
I mean, that it's not going to be cheap, but you feel like it's going to be high quality. You can test everything out, see what you like. It's been a little over a year ago. Now, we went to Levin and we bought we bought 5 pieces at one time, right? Not cheap at all. Well, we have 2 dogs. I love our dogs to death. The one dog decided after we had the couches for a couple months that the one corner of the one couch looked pretty tasty. So
Interesting.
So decided that it was gonna give it the old taste test.
Right.
You know, I was outside. The wife was in the kitchen. We come in. There's a bunch of stuffing all over the place. So the one corner is destroyed. So we did what any normal person would do, because they didn't have the little elves on the corner. They're just straight rectangles.
Right.
Flipped it over. Put that back in the back corner so you can't see it. But there's still a fucking little hole there.
Right.
And if anybody looks, you can notice it. We can't have it sitting the way that it's supposed to. Instantly, no questions asked. My decision is what? I'm going to go buy myself a replacement cushion, right? I go to Levin, tell them what I want and what I need. Replacement cushion, $70. Okay, great. $70.
It's not what you want to pay, but hey, you're willing to spend the cost to make shit right.
Right. I literally go into the store, pay for it in store, right there. Boom. It's paid for. Let's do this. I get a card in the mail that says if it's a domestic company that provided it to Levin, it could be 3 months. If it's a foreign company, it could be up to 6 months. Now, just to make sure that we're following the calendar correctly, this happened last September in the middle of the month. We are past the middle of June, middle of July, middle of August, middle of September. We're getting into the 10-month range here, okay?
Still haven't got it?
Oh, it gets worse. So after 3 months, I start calling. You know, I've called 4 times up until the point that they finally sent me a notification, which would have been, this is June, it would have been the beginning of May. They finally send me a phone call, leave me a voicemail saying, hey, your cushion's here, come pick it up. Fantastic. I went up 2 days later when I actually had time to pick it up, grabbed the box, brought it home. It's 6 inches short. Not the right cushion. So I turn around, I go straight back. I give them the cushion back. I know. I say, hey, you guys fucked up my shit again. Like, this is not okay. At some point, like, this is not okay. I bought this furniture from you specifically because I wanted nice furniture. You're not really standing behind your fucking product at all. And they don't tell you that when you buy shit from there. So remember that. Up to 6 months is what they're going to tell you. It took 8 to even fucking get it here. It's wrong. I give it back to them. I got a fucking postcard in the mail 2 days ago that said 3 months for domestic, 6 months for foreign supplier. And I cannot get anybody to call me back. I took down the name of the general manager for the local branch, and I've reached out to corporate twice, and I cannot get a phone call back from anybody on anything.
Of course not.
I have gone on their Instagram page. If anybody follows Levin Furniture, go look at Levin Furniture. Under several of their posts, I have left messages on there. I have sent them DMs. I'm trying to get a hold of these fucking people so that they can make this right. And I didn't want to bring it onto the show, but I want to. If you're listening to this, please pass it along. If you know somebody from Levin that can give me a fucking call, send us a message to the show.
Ringy dingy.
Email, Instagram, anything, any other way, because I'm just so fucking sick of it, and it's turned me off so bad. I have no plans on ever dealing with them again, and I probably won't deal with a large furniture manufacturer again.
No.
I mean, I've always bitched and complained about Amish-made furniture. It's the same shit you can get anywhere else, but you slap the word Amish on it, it costs fucking twice as much. At least at that point, I can go down to fucking Jedediah's fucking shop and say, hey, man, the fucking running board on this thing's fucked. I need you to fix my fucking swing couch. You know what I mean? Something. But no, because I'm just another number. I'm just another piece of shit to live in fucking furniture. They won't fucking do right by me. Fuck those motherfuckers.
Ah! I love it.
I know it was a long-winded heart, but I had to get the whole story out.
I didn't write down a harp for today.
Well, I probably covered enough for both of us.
But
unless you want
have
to
I
one.
talked? I don't think I wrote this down the other day, and I don't think I talked about it. Actually, I think it's no. All right, so have I harped about people that throwing trash out of their cars?
I don't know.
I don't think I did. If this is a do-over, I apologize, but it still pisses me off. People that still throw shit out of their car window. It happens all the time.
Sure.
Don't fucking do it.
Yep.
That's it. It just bugs the fuck out of me. I got a
What if it's biodegradable?
no.
What if a banana peel?
Listen,
A cheeseburger.
no, banana peel all day long.
A cheeseburger?
Tomato all day long.
Cheeseburger?
Well, the animals will probably eat it, so sure. But when it comes to paper and plastic,
Yeah.
take the shit to a proper receptacle.
I mean, for fuck's sake, you're going to get gas. And every fucking gas station these days has a trash can that they're more than happy to let you fucking fill up.
I will say this. I understand it's funny when you got a car full of teenagers and you're one of the teenagers. Watch this. Yeah, that's funny. But there's way more than just teenagers throwing that shit out of the fucking windows.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's also funny if you have a mortal enemy and you can throw it in their yard. Like,
Now, I will admit to this. One time, me and some homies were coming home from Worcester.
yeah,
We had McDonald's, and here comes this guy on his bike. He's on his 10-speed, and I just bought these fries, grabbed a big handful and drive by frying.
that's not bad.
No, that was funny, but
Not the same amount of funny. And I won't use any names to protect the innocent, but I was actually riding around with a friend of mine one time, and he pulled over and he was like, "You're driving." I'm like, "All right." And he had a badass old muscle car, so I didn't mind driving around, not drinking or nothing. And we're driving around, and he's like, "Turn here." So I turn, and I know the roads and stuff, and he's like, "Turn here." So okay. And then all of a sudden I hear, pew pew. I'm like, "What the hell?" And then a couple seconds later, I hear, pew pew. Glass breaking, and I'm like, "Dude, what the fuck are you doing?" Fucking paintball gun. And he fucking actually hit a window with one of the balls, and instead of splattering, it fucking destroyed a window on somebody's house. I was like, yeah, it's time to go ahead and not be part of this shenanigans anymore.
time to hightail it out of here.
Yeah. So we stayed friends, but we didn't really hang out much on the road together.
Yeah. Well, my harp is middle-aged man harp, because this I don't know. We all live in this motherfucker. Let's keep it as clean as possible.
I mean, we do, but God, before we can get the people in San Francisco to stop shitting on the street, I mean, they declared a national
Still,
emergency because of it.
okay.
It's hard to
We
yell
have
at
to
the guy
take-
throwing a rapper. I know you can only do what you can do.
We have
and
to
if
take
everybody
care
jumped
of
off a bridge,
home
would you too?
first.
I get it. I'm just saying.
I've got a 13-year-old daughter that actually had to start a clean team. I'm not going to say had to. It was her choice. She's kind of, ever since she's been like 5 or 6 years old, she'll see shit down the road and she'll go pick up the trash that people throw out of the cars. And so now when she sees something, so what does she do? She's in middle school. She's went and asked all her friends. She has this sign up sheet, and
Yeah.
she gets like 10 of them together every, I don't know, in the summer about once a month, and they go around and they clean up specific parts.
Yeah.
It's
Well, that's
cool.
awesome.
No, it's great, but I'm just like, man, I wish she didn't have to do that.
Yeah. You know, I will say, even living in town, once in a while we get it. I don't know if everybody else that lives in town gets it, but like I'll go down our road sometimes and you'll see the McDonald's cup or the Starbucks cups are the fucking worst.
Of course.
You know, and you can guarantee. Well, you used to be able to. Now everybody drinks it, so you don't even really know who it is anymore.
Right.
But decent heart.
All right. I say we skip the second topic and go right in to the new part of the show.
Yeah. So
Hold on.
okay, you got something to hear?
Yeah.
Oh.
We can use this until we start making money.
Is this where you got the Gallows Pole from?
No.
Is that the Who? Oh, the Zeppelin. Yeah. What did I say? The Who? Damn it. I love Robert Plant.
That's it.
So the Gallows Pole. It's something that we've been doing for a while on the show now, to where we talk about certain people that we run across in life that we think really deserve to not be part of society anymore and should go to the gallows or the other various means of extraction of life that we've come up with.
So for a while, we've been picking groups or people, stories we've heard.
Yeah.
I mean, you've heard us. If the Hateful Eight's heard all this.
Yeah.
And most recently, we've been kind of, or at least I've been focusing more on the inmates that are closer to actually being executed with capital punishment. And the road I kind of want to go down is, are these people, how much, I mean, we can really get into this, but like, should they be on death row? The crimes they committed, more than likely, there's a reason why they're on death row. Obviously, our judicial system believes they should be on death row.
Sure.
I kind of wanted to take a peek into that, but there's also this can go a million different ways.
So to be a little bit more clear about what we're talking about, how we're going to kind of start doing this a little bit different is, instead of talking hypothetical about people that might end up there or we'd like to see there, we're going to talk about people that actually have execution dates that are on the books and upcoming, and should they be there? Should they not be there? And kind of some of the circumstances around their case. I think that the true crime aspect has a little bit of novelty to it. I mean, I think that life is stranger than fiction most of the time, to where there's a lot of things that you learn, especially from the cases that are finally making it to this point. We found out that in 2018 there were 23.
Oh, here. Let me put the graphic up on the screen here.
You'll appreciate this, I think.
Okay, there it is.
Okay, so that is a map of the exact executions in the United States in 2018. Out of the 23 total, we'll do the quick math for you on it. Texas leading the way at 15.
13.
Oh, sorry, 13.
Yeah.
I couldn't quite read right from over here.
That's okay.
That makes me that reinforces everything that most of us believe with Texas.
Everything's bigger in Texas.
I love Ohio, but do not fuck with Texas.
Man, at least Ohio made the map there.
Yeah, I was actually way to go Ohio for getting yours in there a little bit. It's kind of strange when you look at it, to me, though, that so few states are actually still carrying them through. The first gentleman that we have on the list today, we're going to be a week late on this. There's no two ways about it. But he was scheduled on 6/20 to die, and he's got a good number.
And that's our recording date. So this could be the start of a beautiful thing here.
Right.
If they actually carried it through.
Right. They began keeping track of these stats in 1976, right? When the laws had changed that had let states evaluate their own capital punishment system. So in that period of time, from 1976 to now, which is what, 43 years, right? 43 years. The first guy we're going to talk about tonight, he is number 1,500. If his execution went through.
Of what state? That is of...
No, that's of the country. The entire country, there's been 1,500 people that have been executed under the death penalty since 1976.
But he's supposed to be executed in Georgia.
Yes, in Georgia. And I believe Georgia was on the map too, weren't they?
Oh, yeah.
Georgia, so way to go, Georgia, keep up. And most of the ones that we see coming down through here...
The only ones you're ever going to see are the ones that are still on the map. I don't think any other states really do much.
We know that Utah does, but we can get into that at another time. They actually had a really cool case. I hate to say it.
Let's go back to the map.
Utah actually had one a couple years ago that made some headlines.
Yeah, they're not on this one.
For the way it was done. The guy actually chose the firing squad, which hadn't been done in almost 100 years. But the first gentleman tonight, do you have all of the stats and information on the first gentleman? I know that I had put them in the folder, but I didn't know if we'd pulled them out.
Well, you were already talking to me about him.
Yeah.
So just tell me a little bit about what you know.
Okay, so the gentleman's name is Marion Wilson. He is scheduled to die in Georgia on 6/20. On the 18th, he had a clemency hearing that was denied, to where it looks like everything was going to go through. Like we said, as of the time that you're hearing this, there's probably a 99% chance, unless they've gotten some kind of a miraculous stay, that he's actually been put to death.
Now, let's explain for the people, because I get it, but I don't get it. What the fuck is a stay? Obviously, it's something that happens in the court where they say this guy gets a stay of execution.
Yes.
Is it just another appeal?
No, a stay is a postponement. So there's a variety of different ways that you can get a stay of execution. If you come forward in the 23rd hour and you're like, hey, I've got information on 17 more crimes. If you can give them credible information to start down those trails on some of that stuff, there have been a lot of people, and we'll see some of them in here, that have gotten extended stays because they're smart enough to keep themselves alive by giving little bits at a time. Oh, you're going to take me all the way this time? I'll tell you where a body is.
Like the Ted Bundy thing, where he kept giving new bodies. Well,
it got to the point where Florida wasn't fucking around anymore.
Right.
And it was like, look, you're going to go. There's all kinds of reports that he confessed to up to 30 murders right before he met old Sparky. Nobody for sure on the outside knows if that's true, if he actually confessed to that many or if he confessed to any at all. Another way that, like clemency, which is what I had mentioned a minute ago. I don't know why I keep trying to talk so fast tonight.
New York.
Maybe a little too much caffeine today. I don't know.
New York. I can't talk either.
Clemency can only be handed down by a governor, to where the governor can look at a case and say, you didn't quite deserve the death penalty. We're going to commute your sentence into life without the possibility of parole.
Yeah, I get clemency.
That's clemency. The only other thing that you have is if you have an 11th hour appeal that the Supreme Court of your state is even willing to hear, and they make a ruling on it.
But there's stays and then there's other ones. Something with an R. I can't remember what it was.
I'd have to look at what you were talking about. There's also situations to where you'll find that a lot of the ones that we're going to start getting into have been prolonged because of the changes with the lethal injection.
That's Ohio
materials.
right now.
Yeah.
Ohio has actually put a hold on their executions because of this.
Yes.
Mike DeWine.
Yeah. Well, in another episode, we'll get into exactly what all of those drugs are that are being used. Now, there used to be like the Holy Three that every state used. Now there are different concoctions that are being used by different states. This one set for Georgia is actually going to be the second one that's used this. The first one was actually his partner in crime. Guy's last name was Butts. And this happened a year ago. His lawyering apparently fell through the system a little bit
May of
faster.
18.
May of 18, yeah, to where he was gone. Long and short of what Mr. Wilson and Mr. Butts did, they worked together. Where did they work? Burger King, right? They worked at Burger King together. There was a former inmate that they had run into, and they had asked him for a ride home. So this guy had actually turned his life around, had become a man of the faith, and he knew who these guys were. So he was like, absolutely, I'll give you guys a ride home. They led him out to a desolate area, and they shot him in the back of the head. So it's one of those situations to where they both have blamed it on each other as far as who actually pulled the trigger. We don't have the 45 minutes to go into the entire show about it, at least not right now, the way that we have this put together. But they went out, they just straight up executed this guy to rob him, got themselves caught rather quickly, and then went through the system. It took about 1996 that this happened?
Sounds right.
So this guy's about to join his partner in crime and going down. This is one I completely feel that this is 1,000% justified. If you are going to murder somebody in cold blood at any time, there's no self-defense in any of this. The only thing that they have is the he said, she said. They both admitted they were accomplices in the robbery, which makes them automatically both complicit in the murder. And I know that that's something that you have.
No, I mean, okay. I do. Well, the next one we'll talk about a little bit more in depth. But like in this case, okay, we have two people. There was one murder. Obviously, if it was a gunshot and it was one shot, it was only one of them. Now, in this story, it sounds like they robbed together, they killed together. Obviously, still one man pulled the trigger, but I believe in this case, like they obviously did in court,
The whole thing.
that they both get it.
Yeah.
For one, they're not telling you who did it because they don't want to.
Right.
So, yeah, they both get the fucking chair, for sure.
Yeah.
Now, there are other cases where I'm just saying, like, okay, let's say I'm in a car with somebody, and they pull up to a red light, start getting in a in an altercation with somebody verbally in another car, pull out a gun and shoot them. Should I really go to jail for that?
I think it depends on what you do immediately afterwards.
Probably. So that's where I'm at. Like, okay, just because I'm with somebody, I know, accomplices or people that are, accomplice would mean you helped.
Right.
What do I want to say? It's by being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Right.
But it's also guilty by association.
It is.
That is where I think, okay, you need to look at these things individually, and maybe they do.
Yeah, I'm sure that they do, but at the same time, one of the things that you're going to run into every time in that situation is you're going to have, if there's only two of you in the car, the person that pulled the trigger is going to point the finger at the other guy. I mean,
He told me to do it, but still,
if you're a big enough piece of shit to shoot somebody, unless you have an extremely just cause, and we can get into that at another point in time, there are just reasons, I believe, for taking the law into your own hands. They're a very small handful, but most of the time in those situations, those people aren't claiming innocence either.
Right.
You know, they're like, hey, it was me. Yeah, I did it. It's cool.
So we're for in this case, I believe we're both 100% rooting for this execution.
Yeah, man.
Boom.
Go ahead.
Marion.
Push it on through.
What is it? Marion Wilson.
So I hope that by the time
Pip,
you're hearing
pip.
this, he's no longer with us.
Yeah.
You know, save us a few bucks next week on the housing of another prisoner that doesn't need to be here.
So what we've got for you tonight is the top three next. Now, there are other people in front of them, but they have had stays. And the other word that I'm failing to remember right now, rescheduling maybe. Maybe just
Rescheduling, sure.
So maybe that's all.
And there's a myriad of reasons that could happen.
That might be what I'm looking for. But we have the next 3.
Well, that was one. We have 2 more now.
Right, but before we get into the second one, I do want to. We are also going to. We have a. We're not going to play it right now. We're going to play it at the end. But from the Working Stiffs podcast, they actually have a little bit of a lengthy Gallows Pole that we're going to add to this show.
Great.
But I just want to give you a little heads up what we're going to do there. And,
Okay.
And once again, thanks Danny and Zach for sending that our way.
Okay.
So the second guy
Ruben.
is Ruben Gutierrez. This guy is.
What state?
He's going to be executed in the good old state of Texas. And therefore, we're kind of high-fiving here because when the shit goes down in Texas, it just fucking happens.
Yeah, they're the leader in the clubhouse for a reason.
They're making an example of these guys, and they want to be up front and center. Look at us. We're doing it.
Yep.
And I love it. In this case, this is where there was a trio. We have Ruben Gutierrez. We have Rene Garcia and Pedro Garza.
Okay.
They called this the screwdriver murder, which is wonderful.
Yeah.
So it sounds like it sounds like Ruben, the guy that's planning on being executed July 31st. So the end of our month.
The day after my birthday.
Right.
So weird.
Jake's got a July birthday. I have a July birthday.
I'll be hungover for the execution.
If everything goes well, Ruben will be executed on July 31st. So what it sounds like was he befriended an 85-year-old woman who they knew had a ton of money. She was one of these wealthy old ladies that I can't remember how she made her money, but she didn't believe in banks. Had around $600,000
Cash.
and they knew she had a bunch. So Ruben befriended her. It sounds like Pedro. I'm gonna get the wrong one. One of his accomplices was the mastermind. Hey, let's go do this. So what they basically did was they went to rob her. She walked in on them or realized they were there.
Yeah.
They struck her repeatedly in the head and stabbed her in the head multiple times. And I'm reading that, and then I find another story. It's called the screwdriver murder, so now we know how they did that.
With the screwdriver.
What a wonderful way to die in your 85th year. Screwdriver to the head. Wonderful. I haven't read extensive, but I a little bit of it said, they all claim it wasn't them, just like what you were saying.
Sure. He said, she said.
Yeah, he said, she said. So, sorry, we're going one at a time here. I believe Ruben is the first.
Are they all 3 on death row? Do we know that?
I get it fucked up.
Is Renee not?
I will tell you this: Ruben did win a stay last July,
Okay.
and obviously it lasted for 12 months.
Yeah.
I think it was Rene Garcia.
Okay.
Was the mastermind, and he is the next one. Yeah, I'm sure it is. He is the next one in the court systems.
Yes.
Pedro, I didn't find a whole bunch on him, so I'm wondering if he might have been the third wheel that really wasn't as involved.
Yeah.
But so there you go.
Well, as we get closer to, as we get another part of this segment expanded a little bit, we won't explain this every time that we go through it, but once we get to, who's actually in the batter's box, we got who's in the batter's box, on deck, and in the hole, right?
That's it.
So if you're in the batter's box, we're going to give you a little bit more time to your story, a little bit more research, a little better understanding on it.
Yeah.
So once he might be in the batter's box now. We just don't know it yet.
This is what I'd like to know. You said you can keep feeding stays of execution.
You can,
if they'll bite, right?
if they will.
So we know he's already got one. I don't know how many stays you're going to get. I mean, for our case,
Yeah.
I hope that was it.
They're usually for a very specific reason. I mean,
But-
if it gets to the point where you have exhausted your appeals and they have set your execution date, there's usually a pretty good reason for a stay, or a reschedule. It's going to happen. It's like it's kind of like the point of inevitability, unless somehow miracle out of left field comes some evidence that's in their favor.
And that's where they were kind of
Extremely rare.
They were starting to talk about DNA evidence, and I guess this guy's lawyer said, "See ya, I'm out."
Yeah,
And then he had
but
to.
they just everything pointed to him being the guy.
I guess.
No.
And so I'm a little confused on how you get DNA evidence from a stabbing.
I'm sure it's on a screwdriver or under her fingernails if she fought back.
Right,
I mean,
something.
there can be a million different ways
Something.
that it actually happens.
So, anyways, like Jake, I can't talk either. Like Jake said, we're working this into a little bit more of an extensive portion of every other week.
Yep.
So we're looking to start at maybe half the show of the Gallows Pole every other week, opposite our live stream.
Yeah.
And then, if it turns into something big, maybe we'll extend it to 3/4, maybe even a full show. We'll just see.
Yeah, let us know what you think. If you want us to just get back to bullshitting about the things we always talk about, we can do that too.
Yeah, and be aware that we will. We're planning on being more prepared.
Yes.
Life has been a little crazy for both of us right now, but moving forward, we plan on doing a little bit more homework. Maybe it'll be a little bit more
Yeah.
laid out.
So the guy that's in the hole right
Yes.
now, he's on the dugout steps, just waiting for his chance to step into the on deck
August
circle.
August 15th.
August 15th. This is Stephen Michael West in the state of Tennessee. This is one that looks like the odds of a stay or a reschedule, unless there's some kind of catastrophe like a tornado that would level the prison or something like that. This shit's going to happen. This is actually 33 years in the making. So for the quick math for everybody at home, that's 1986.
Wow.
Yeah. This guy was a complete piece of shit. Him and a friend of his, let me get down to it, Ronnie Martin. And he actually murdered Wanda and Sheila Romines. I struggle with Romines, I believe is how it's pronounced. These fucks.
Wait, can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah.
Do you know if that's like sisters, mom and daughter?
It's mom and daughter.
Jesus.
So the mom had a child from a previous marriage. This was her only daughter with her husband. Her husband actually passed away in 2008, so he's not going to have an opportunity to actually see what happened here. His name is Jack. Jack attended every single thing the whole way through. Back in the middle 2000s, he was coming down to it. His execution had actually been scheduled, and they took it off the books when all of the issues happened with the lethal injection drugs. But this fucker, Ronnie Martin, that was the other guy that did this with him. Ronnie was 17 at the time. Mr. West was 23. Ronnie actually went to school with Sheila, the daughter. And they cased this fucking house to know that the dad was going to be working, to where it was just going to be the mom and the daughter home. They went in, they tied them up, brutally raped, tortured both of them. Both of them had over 20 stab wounds on them. They get the fucking trial. Turns out that Ronnie is 17. So in the great state of Tennessee, obviously they could use a couple tweaks here and there in their laws. He can't face a death penalty because he's actually a minor when the offense happens.
A minor with a major offense.
He immediately pleads guilty, receives life in prison, but blames everything on West. West, obviously being 23, blames everything on Martin. DNA suggests that both of them were involved with everything the entire way through. This family has been put through the ringer. It's insane to me that this could have lasted 33 years. How these guys lasted in prison for 33 years for this is also a complete fucking mystery to me. I mean, to brutally rape and torture. I mean, it goes on to say that a lot of the details they haven't made super public, to where it's going to take some more digging on our part to find out exactly how terrible this whole thing got. In an ironic twist, these two fucking dickbags worked at McDonald's together. So this is the second pair of fast food workers in the top 3 that are actually working together. But
The fast food tards.
yeah,
Jesus.
West said that he feared for his own life. The jury didn't fucking buy it, and it looks like all things are pointing to him getting the chair. So that's going to be it's going to be a day of justice for the family and a little bit of celebration for people that want to just finally put this behind him. So that's about what I have on Mr. West. We'll update you as the coming shows go on.
That's kind of the thing here. One drops off, we add another one, and we will add more content with each one as we go.
It's funny if you look at the way the dates line up. I think the night that we're going to do steak night is his.
What night are we doing steak night?
14th, 15th, whatever that date is. So it's right around
August.
So it's right around the time that he's going to be going.
You might see the light bulbs flicker.
He's going to be frying. We're going to be frying. It's going to be a good time. A little smoking meat going on.
All right.
So, all right.
So I'm going to go ahead and play the Gallows Pole
Okay.
from the Working Stiffs. We're going to sit back here. We're going to listen to it with you. And we even have a pause button here if we want to interject.
Okay.
All right. So here we go. Danny and Zach.
So what's up, Harper guys? Thank you for agreeing to play our
We're busting in.
our Gallows Pole. So do you want to go first, Zach, or you want me to go?
No, go ahead. I want to hear what you got. What do you got, Daniel?
So
Who you sending to Gallows?
this is something that literally happened to me last week. So I work in fire protection, and so I go to places and I inspect, fire extinguishers, emergency lights, all that crazy shit.
Like Fire Marshal Bill?
Fire Marshal Bill.
Fire Marshal Danny.
So I go into this place. Well, first off, I called earlier in the week, and I said, "Hey, could I? Your guys are due. Can I come do your inspection?" The woman on the other line says, "Yeah, no problem. That's great. Thanks for calling." I said, when do you open? She says, anytime after 9. I go, okay, great. So the day comes. I show up there. It's probably about 9:15. I walk in the door, and the woman's standing there or sitting at her desk, and she turns around and looks at me, and immediately says, "Oh, fire extinguisher guy." And I said, "Yes, ma'am." And beyond her is another office, and I see this older guy lean his head over, like to look out the doorway. "Who's that? What's he want?" Oh shit! Here we go. So she says, "He's here to inspect the fire extinguishers." And he says, "Oh, son, we don't have time for this today. You're going to have to come back another time." So I turn on my heels and I start walking towards the door. And as I'm walking, he starts running his mouth even more. "Did this guy even call and arrange this? Did this guy, what's he doing here now?" Like he's, running his mouth. And she's like, "Yes, he called earlier in the week. I knew he was coming." So between me and this woman, we had everything arranged. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Basically, what I was going to walk in, she would have said, "Okay, hold on one second." She would have went and got me the keys to the properties, handed me the keys, and I would be out the door to do my job. Simple as that.
Right.
But
Doesn't affect this dude whatsoever.
Right. The big boss is in the office, and so now he wants to raise a fucking stink.
Well, yes.
So, like I said, I turn to walk towards the door. He starts running his mouth, and he says, "Well, what do you got to do? How many places you got to go?" So I have my tablet, right? All my information's on my tablet. So I already closed up my tablet because
Yeah.
he told me to leave.
Yeah.
So now I got to open it back up again, and I read him off all the addresses. And he's in the office with his head of maintenance, right? And that guy's now pissed off too because he realizes that his day just got fucked because this guy stuck his dick in the pudding. You know what I mean? Like, her and I had this handled, but now the big boss got to get his
Right,
way.
right.
So now this guy's going to have to rearrange his day to deal with me. And that guy doesn't want to do it because he's got a ton of shit he's already got lined up to do. And I don't blame him because I'm like that too. So the big boss says to the maintenance guy, go get him the keys for this place. Just go ahead. So the guy gets up and he's irritated. He comes over and he hands me a couple of keys. And he says, "I'll take you over here because it's right next door." I said, "All right, no problem." So I go over and we do the work next door. And I come back and I say to the maintenance guy, "Look, soon as I go and do these 3, we'll meet back here." He says, "Yes." Okay. And then that's it. So I leave. Well, one of the places they told me to go was, I'm not going to name the name. Well, I'll just make up a name. It's Joe's Donuts. Okay. We'll call it Joe's Donuts. So he says, "Go to Joe's Donuts. Go to Joe's Donuts." So I go to where Joe's Donuts is supposed to be. Joe's Donuts is closed, and it has been closed for a year and a half. And there's some school of degenerates in there. Like literally, it's a school. There's 6 kids sitting there at computers playing these are teenage kids playing little kids games because they don't want to be in school and they just cause problems. So this is where they get put to complete their schooling. So these kids are there, and I'm like, well, I don't know what the fuck to do. So I just turn around and leave. I go back, and I go into the office, and I'm hoping that the boss is not there anymore. So I'm talking to the woman, and he leans his head around. "You just keep interrupting my day. That's all you do. That's all you do is interrupt my day. This is the second time you've come in here and screwed up my day. I'm like,
What a dick.
Holy fuck, you piece of shit. So,
But you didn't actually say that.
oh, I wanted to. That's the problem. Like, I have to be professional. I have to be,
I
you
have to be nice.
Right. So I leave. I said to him, I'm like, look, I don't know what's going on down there. Joe's Donut's not there anymore. The School of Degenerates is there, and I don't know what you want me to do about it. Because the extinguishers in there are tagged by some other company, and they're overdue, but I don't know if you're telling that School of Degenerates that they have to pay for their own service or what. And he says, no, go ahead back and do it. Okay, fine. So I go back to do it, and I'm trying to call the maintenance guy because he has to take me to these other places. Maintenance guy's not answering his phone. Finally, he calls me back, and he says, okay, come up here. It's like a block away. Just walk up here. We have there's a new building that's not quite done yet. I need you to inspect these extinguishers. So I go up and inspect the extinguishers. And the maintenance guy disappears again, right? So now I'm still trying to get into these other properties. And I go walking back to the office, and here comes dickhead boss guy. He's walking down the alley, and he starts into me again. Well, I don't know what to tell you. I can't do your job for you. You piece of shit. I'm not asking you to do my fucking job. I'm asking you to get the fuck out of the way.
Amen.
So, like I said, he's obviously got money. There's, in the parking lot, there's like a BMW, a Range Rover, a couple other fancy cars. And then I realized, at the one point, right before that, I guess I'd met his daughter. She gets out of, like, mommy's Range Rover, and she's like, are you here to inspect my building? Like, she's one of those rich girls that's too lazy to talk. You know what I mean? So she has that vocal fry shit going on, and it's just fucking annoying.
By the way, this is starting to sound a lot like a harp.
Oh, it is.
I can't wait to hear the end of it.
I know.
I think he's intertwining a harp in this as well.
I got it.
You're not okay. She's got her little chai latte mocha bullshit thingy in her hand.
Of course, yes.
Yeah, so I'm like, okay, I'm just so fed up with these people. So she's giving me, she's not giving me shit, but she's just annoying me, and she goes away. The boss is standing there. The big boss is now standing there, too. He's giving me shit. And the maintenance guy's not answering his phone. They've literally taken a 2-hour job and turned it into a 5-hour shit show.
Yeah, a shit show.
I'm standing around waiting and waiting and waiting. The maintenance guy doesn't call me back. So I'm like, I go back to the office. Nobody's there except for the woman. I said, look, I got to go to lunch. I'm starving. I'll be back, or I'll call your maintenance guy before I come back. So I come back and I call the maintenance guy. He finally answers the phone. He's like, oh, just go to this address. Someone will meet you there, or I'll meet you there. So I go to the address. I'm sitting in front. No one's there. Then he calls me back and he says, oh, go to the back. So-and-so's at the back door. So I go to the back door. Here it's the boss's other kid, the big boss's other kid, who drives a BMW, and basically his job is to go around and vacuum the hallways of these shithole apartments. That's his job.
At least he's doing something.
I guess. And I think he might have even lived in one of the apartments too. So he takes me and finally get everything done. And like I said, this is a 6-hour shit show. I go back to the office. I have all this paperwork on my iPad that I have to get them to sign, so I have to pull it all up individually. And I don't want to do that. So I'm like talking to the woman while the big boss is in his office. I'm talking to her and I'm explaining to her, I'm like, look, if I pull up every one of these things, it's going to take forever. I'm like, I know what your email address is. I can just email them to you. But he hears me. What's going on? What do you need now?
Cocksucker.
And so I walk into his office with my iPad, and he goes, let me see it. So I start to try and pull it up, right? I can't see through the back of the iPad. I don't have X-ray vision. I can't see through the back of it. I can't look and look.
We've all met somebody like this.
I'm sure this guy's employees fucking love him.
Oh, my God. I mean,
what a fucking asshole.
I can't see through the back of the fucking iPad.
Right?
Fuck off.
Through it and see what's on the front of it. So you have to put it in front of me. This is like actually the shit that he's saying to me. I wanted to just smash him in the face with the fucking iPad.
Yeah.
So I hand it to him, and he starts scrolling up and down and left and right. He has no idea what he's doing, right?
Yeah.
He can't zoom in, zoom out. He doesn't know how to do that. He's just scrolling left and right and up and down. So the guy's giving me all this shit, and he goes, all right, just here, take it. Just do whatever. And he hands it back to me, and I leave. I cannot believe this fucker. Like, being that disrespectful to me. I'm just there to do a job, and you had to stick your dick in the pudding. I could have been long gone from this place. You know
Well,
what I did?
yeah. I mean, they can't help themselves.
You know what I
People
did to make myself feel better? I actually left there because it's in Shady Side. You know, all rich people,
Yes.
obnoxious little dickheads. I left there and I went to the ghetto, and I had the best time. Walk in. I went to the worst of the worst neighborhoods. I walked in. I started talking to some people. I had to, some customers. I'm trying to deal with them. They were as nice as could be to me.
Yeah.
They're like, "Hey, how's it going? Oh, sorry about that. Here you go. Here's this. Here's that. Nice as could be."
That's so funny.
I go to the rich neighborhood, and they treat me like shit.
Yeah.
All the people walking up and down the streets were just being assholes, too. It's such a shithole. So that's my heart. That guy's going to the gallows. String his ass up, draw and quarter him. I don't care what you do, but he deserves it. Go, Zach.
That was a ridiculously long-winded.
I know. I'm sorry, guys. I just
Make time for you.
you should. I wish I had recorded this like right after it happened because I'm simmered down now.
Yeah.
Oh, I would have been screaming my head off.
Mine's pretty simple. If anybody listens to the show,
Our show, yeah.
if anybody listens to our show, it's Zuck. Zuckerberg's got to go to the gallows. He's a bastard-coated bastard with bastard filling.
Oh,
I can dig
absolutely.
that.
And if you want to know why, listen to the show and listen to my exploits of getting thrown in Facebook jail all the time.
Tell them about the picture I just sent you. That was a sponsored ad.
Right, yeah. You sent me a picture of clearly a girl getting railed from behind, and it was, a dick pill ad or something?
Yeah.
But it was sponsored.
Tons of side boob.
Tons of side boob. I have gotten thrown in jail for less side boob than that.
Yeah.
So, but because it was sponsored, somebody paid for it. Perfectly acceptable. Zuck's okay with that. He's making money off that. But
maybe that's what you do next time you get thrown in jail.
So
Like, how much is it going to cost me to get out?
God forbid
I'll
I
pay.
share a picture that I find on Facebook, and then all of a sudden I'm thrown in jail.
Yeah.
So, that's my quick, simple gallows
I'm sorry.
to your 20-minute explanation.
All right. So that's it from us, the Working Stiffs. Thank you, Harper, guys. We appreciate you.
Sorry for listening to Danny all that time.
Yeah. But like I said, if you had heard me the day that it happened, I was so fucking mad.
All right, thanks, guys.
Yep. Thanks, guys. See
Later.
ya.
I'm not upset for listening to him that long because I understand that sometimes you have to get a fucking story out.
And
you have to get it out in context.
If you don't tell it properly, which he did,
Yeah.
it wouldn't have been as bad. Oh, well, the guy just told you this.
Right.
No, the guy told him this. It was a slew of things.
Right. And he proved a long-standing maxim that's 99% true. It's not quite for everybody, but the bigger the bankroll, the bigger the asshole.
Man, that
Right?
is true.
And that's what he fucking dealt with. I wish that he would have been able to just be like, oh, look, there's no pin in this fire extinguisher. Oh, this fire extinguisher is 6 months fucking out of date. Looks like you have to replace this one. Like, I wish he could have gone at that angle at him and been like, fuck me, fuck you.
Oh, that would have been interesting.
Right?
Yeah. So guess what I did?
Right. On his way out, fuck Chow. Just give him a good one of those.
All right. Well,
Hey, you can see though why those are kind of our guys. They're on the same page with us. Thanks for contributing to the show tonight. We really appreciate
Absolutely.
it. Thanks for jumping in on the gallows. We got some more of our listener content coming up on the next show, which is
maybe next time keep it to like 5 minutes. and- No, all good though.
that's all right. Whatever you got to do to get through. Thank you so much for joining us. Really needed this. It was a great show.
I think so.
I think that we made some good headway.
Had a little contribution from our friend.
That's right. Talk some shit to us. Give us a shout out. Give us a follow. Send us a gallows. Send us a harp. Tell us what you think about our topics. Take care of yourselves. Love each other. Can't wait to see you next time.
Pip pip.
Cheerio!